Good morning, everybody. So recently at the Snow Approach Foundation in Hillsborough, North Carolina, we started a baseline measure for folks. So we offered it up to everyone in the community. If you were interested, whether or not you had some brain change that had already been identified, come on in and let us do some simple screening to establish what's your baseline right now in this moment, in this situation. And then let's talk a little bit about brain fitness, brain health, and some of your common practices and lifestyle choices so that you know where you are at this point. And we're going to do it again in the winter, December, to take a look at, well, what happens over these 6 months? Is there change? Is there not change? And if people want, we can do it more frequently than that. Now, the two things that we opted to use was trail making, and we did a variation. We did a simple 1, 2, 3 trail making, and then we did 1A, 2B, which is the more complicated version where you have divided attention and the ability to trace and go with visual motor skills. And we also did animal fluency, looking at how many animals you could come up with. Or if you were challenged already, we would have a list, or excuse me, pictures of animals that you could look at, a whole variety, and then come up with the names of them. And if that was too difficult because of language, I would call a name of an animal and you would find it on the page. So what we're really looking at is abilities, not losses, but abilities. Where are you? And then we're going to move it forward. Now, for people who had some brain changes already, we structured it so that there was a feeling of success, of achievement. We started with something 1, 2, 3, 4, and if it just meant touching a pencil and counting and using our fingers to support, we document that and let people know, well, that's how we did it, so that we're not testing for what people can't do. We're finding out what they can. And for people who don't have areas of identified brain change, what we then would do is talk a little bit about, and we offered everyone not dementia care partner guide. That was a little too complicated in advance because all we're really looking at is establishing baseline. But what we did offer people is a card. And the card that we offered folks was our GEMS card, which is actually included in here so you can have it as needed. So the GEMS card lets us look at, okay, so this isn't just about dementia. This is about brain state and how your brain is working and how well it's working. And what we should see, and I talk about this with everybody that I worked with, is we should have a balance each day of making sure that we are having chances to be creative and supportive and do really remarkable things, doing some things that are familiar and routine. So I'm not having to use my brain extensively to do them, following patterns or steps to get through a particular task. Now, again, the more I do it, the more I can get through that task, but with the right initiation, sequence, termination, and transition into the next task. Then there's Amber. We should spend part of our day having sensory experiences that we really enjoy and like. And we also want to make sure that we're not exposing ourselves to sensory experiences we hate for long periods of time because it distresses and causes a primitive brain reaction. We also know that it's a great idea to do something that's strong and purposeful, but fairly repetitive, sort of like walking, exercise, things that you can do without too much thinking. We call them cerebellar. We also want to spend some time at rest. So with Ruby, strong, not a lot of skill being used. It's just that time when you can be feeling good. And finally, Pearl state is when you're in that state of not aware of the world around you because you're resting, meditating, praying, whatever you might do to reset, to rest, to restore. And so when you have a balance of these things in your life, you tend to be at your best. When you're out of balance in these, you tend to find yourself struggling sometimes and finding that there's stress or distress and you're having more and more difficulty tolerating things or sequencing through things or having the strength or the ability to switch gears. So, as a care partner, this book is not just for you being a care partner, it's for you looking at yourself and your own brain state and what it may say about your stress or distress level, because we know that distressed brains are at higher risk for having their own issues. Till next time, take a look at how balanced or imbalanced your life is, how much time you have for the things you really love, and how much time you're spending in situations that don't give you any pleasure and are fairly distressing. And if it doesn't seem like what it should be, maybe it's time to have a conversation, do a little more thinking, look for the support structures that are needed, wanted, or maybe looking at what's not available that you wish was. Till next time, take care with your care, take care of yourself.